Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news as we discuss what could be game over for Frenkie de Jong. Some quite big stories coming out in relation to that. We'll also be talking about the starting lineup, the starting centre-back lineup that's been leaked for the game on Sunday. Is it a leak? Is it nonsense? We'll talk about that. Also some developments around Cesco, La Liga and Barcelona, which could open up the de Jong deal again. Lots to get into on the show tonight. And look, the first thing I want to pop on the screen is that this is where we're going to start off. It's not from Harry Redknapp, it's from Paul Hurst, who writes for The Times, Manchester United correspondent. That's what we're going to talk about. It now looks likely that Frenkie de Jong will stay at Barcelona or join Chelsea. If you've not heard this from a couple of hours ago, we're going to delve into that first of all. But before we get into that, it's Friday night. I'm wearing my Boohoo Man Active top, and you can also be wearing some Boohoo Man Active range with a discount as per usual, because today's show is supported by Boohoo Man, which means they'll also be giving us a bit of trivia as well. Boohoo Man Active is all about looking good and feeling great, and as the weather gets nicer, there's no better place to get yourself some brand new active wear. But because Boohoo Man are sponsoring our show, it means it's time for some Man United trivia, and again this week we're seeing if you can guess which United player Boohoo Man are actively talking about from the below clues. So, here I go. I was born in Northumberland on 11th of October 1937. Okay, not playing now then. I joined United on the 31st of January 1953 when I was 15. I know who it is. I played 606 times for the club, scoring 199 goals. For Manchester United, I won 3 league titles, 1 FA Cup and 1 European Cup. I'm one of the 3 English Man United players to win the World Cup. Who am I? And somebody just put David Beckham in the chat. Yeah, he wasn't born in 1937 and didn't win a World Cup. Of course, it is the legend, the symbol of Manchester United for me. Busby Babe went on to win the European Cup in 68, World Cup in 66. It's Sir Bobby Charlton, and well done to everyone who gets that one. As an extra question, who were the other 2 United players in the 1966 England squad? John Connolly and Nobby Stiles. I would have got Nobby Stiles. I wouldn't have got John Connolly. As always, Boohoo Man have given United Stand discount for this video by scanning the QR code or clicking the link in the description and using the code GOLDBRIDGE. You could get up to 40% off, excluding certain sale items. So you can scan the QR code or go through the link in the description, use the code GOLDBRIDGE. Sorry, excuse me. I've only just had my dinner. Thanks so much to Boohoo Man for supporting today's show. And of course, we're live a little bit earlier tonight because it's the opening night of the Premier League season. So I will be live on That's Football straight after this for Palace against Arsenal. So the football chat will continue long into the night. But let's come back to Manchester United. So, game over for Frenkie de Jong. We had a story this afternoon which I mentioned on the press conference reaction. It's not Nanny, Nick P. Welcome to Members Club, Andrew. Yeah, we had a story this afternoon where Harry Redknapp had said he'd spoken to somebody high up at Manchester United who said we weren't getting de Jong because he really wants to go to Chelsea. Look, Harry Redknapp ain't tier 1. He ain't tier 5. But Paul Hurst is a Times journalist who, we've mentioned quite a bit this summer and in the past. He's saying it is now looking unlikely that Frenkie de Jong will join Manchester United and that he will either stay at Barcelona or join Chelsea. I knew this. Jobby says, what percentage are you now, Mark? Well, you know what? I can give my opinion, or we can react to the news, or we can do both. I read that article, and the article was about Ronaldo. So I would expect, if United are not getting Frenkie de Jong, I would expect that to be coming from a David Ornstein or a Fabrizio Romano or a Samuel Luckhurst or a Laurie Whitwell or a James Ducker or a Simon Stone or even a Paul Hurst, and I would expect it to be a headline article for the simple reason that I love Harry's roly-poly. It's lovely, Matthew. Jam roly-poly with a bit of custard. But United have spent all summer chasing Frenkie de Jong. Our whole summer has been about Frenkie de Jong. I would expect, if we're not in for Frenkie de Jong and he's not coming to Man United, I would expect more than a sentence towards the bottom half of an article. So I don't believe it at the moment, to be honest with you. Look at what Luckhurst wrote this morning in the Manchester Evening News. He said that Man United are baffled that they're being perceived as the messers in transfer when it's all coming from Barcelona's side. We've agreed a fee of about £71 million with Barcelona. They want that money, but they won't pay the wages that Frenkie de Jong is owed. So that was from this morning. I think Laurie Whitwell said the other day that United still believe that they can do this deal. So look, I'll admit that today we've had a couple of stories that are a little bit worrying about Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United. But I still remain 90%. We'll talk about Cesco in a minute. I still remain 90%, and I'll tell you why. Because we've spent 3 months on this deal. I believe there's a private agreement between Ten Hag and Frenkie de Jong and his agent and Man United that we're not aware of. And I think that basically this just comes down to the fact that he wants his money. Now, I don't dispute that Chelsea are in for him. I don't dispute that he might want to go to Chelsea. I don't even blame him if he wants to go to Chelsea, because Chelsea is a better club than us at the moment in relation to their Champions League status and ability to win trophies. But I still believe United have something in play. And also, Chelsea's priority at the moment is Fofana. I don't think they're working on De Jong at the moment. I think they're working on Fofana. Now, that could be good for one reason, because it could mean we're at the front of the queue for De Jong. Or it could be that Chelsea know that De Jong's not going to get sorted out for a couple of weeks, so they're going to sort Fofana out first. I don't know. But what I do, and have always said, is whether he comes to Manchester United or he goes to Chelsea, I'm absolutely convinced he leaves Barcelona. So, yeah, look, we'll just have to see how it develops. I understand. Welcome to Members Club, Andrew and Scraggles. I understand why people are concerned, but at the moment, I don't feel that's enough for me to get concerned. When it is, I'll tell you. But I feel if I went, oh, it's game over, De Jong's not going to come to United, I feel there'll be a story tonight or tomorrow where it's back on again. I just don't think it's over yet. So I could knock it down to 75%. I've done that before. I could even go 50-50, but I'm going to stay at 90% because I just haven't seen anything that makes me believe that we haven't wasted all summer yet. If De Jong goes to Chelsea after giving Ten Hag reassurances all summer, then it shows what kind of man Frenkie is, says Raz. And add on top of this, Tuchel is out there guaranteeing more signings to come. Look, give it to Mike, he's right. I can't dispute the fact that Chelsea are in for him. I can't dispute the fact that I think Tuchel wanted him when he went from Ajax to Barcelona. I think he wanted him at PSG at that point, and he was upset he didn't get him. So there's no doubt about that. But I think that realistically, we're going to have to wait and see with Frenkie de Jong. I will repeat what I've said before. I still think that United could have got this deal done by paying the wages that Frenkie de Jong is owed. Whether they should do that or not is up to them, but they could have done. And if Chelsea do that and we don't get him because of that, then we should have done. There is a very recent tweet coming out from Fabrizio Romano. He's saying that Cesco will not decide his future before the next week. Meeting scheduled to think about proposals and then make a final decision. Manchester United are still in talks after meeting with his agent more than 2 times, but it's 3 clubs in the race for Cesco. I don't think we'll get Cesco. I wouldn't even get excited. If there's other clubs in the race, I wouldn't get excited about Cesco. Became a member earlier. Looking forward to fantasy football. Says Adastri. Yeah, good luck. I've got a couple of Arsenal players in my team tonight, actually. Adrian says we are heading to becoming Leeds with these owners or other clubs who fell away. We have to act. In relation to Cesco, I think it was Sky was saying earlier on that difficult deal to do because of the price. There's a long way between what Manchester United would like to pay and what Salzburg would want. So, look, Cesco there, you've had an update from Romano about 4 minutes ago saying that no decision will be made in the next week. It's a 3-horse race and he's got to make some decisions. What I would say about Cesco from Man United's point of view is that we're definitely in for him. That was something I didn't think, as an opinion, I didn't think we were in for him, but we definitely are. So acknowledgement to that, we are in for Cesco. I don't think we're going to get Cesco. I don't. Which just shows how you can feel differently about every deal. I mean, I still think we'll get De Jong. I don't think we're going to get Cesco, mainly because we won't pay what Salzburg want, and United have already said. In fact, I would love to shout the person out who said this, because about 6 weeks ago, we were talking about how United have put it out there a few times that they won't overpay for players. And somebody said on the show about 6 weeks ago, we won't overpay, it's just there's no value in the market. And I think actually at the time I disagreed with it, but I'm starting to think you're probably right. This whole we won't overpay is a very convenient line to we're not going to pay at all. if I'm linked to signing Cesco and then we don't buy him and then we put it out there that we didn't want to overpay. We actually did it with Darwin Núñez, you know. Man United actually put it out there with Darwin Núñez that we didn't want to overpay. He would have picked Liverpool anyway, but we wouldn't have paid what Liverpool paid. Like, that was the story at the time. Man United didn't want to pay 80 million euros plus add-ons, which Liverpool did. So this overpay thing is a load of nonsense, really, because it's just somebody's opinion. Like, if I was negotiating with Ajax and Ajax said, we'll give him to you for 60 million plus 10 in add-ons, I would do that deal. I don't think United would, because they don't want to pay that much. So they'd say Ajax were asking for silly money. But I would have done 60 million plus 10 for Anthony. I would have done that. So I don't really buy into this whole we won't overpay, because it's subjective. What's overpaying? Oh, we didn't want to pay any more than 25 million for Cesco, but someone else offers 35. Well, I don't agree with that. Mark, what about dividends? Let's try him in the midfield. It would make the Glazers proud to see dividends on the pitch, says Amir. We wouldn't be able, you know what, Amir? We wouldn't be able to pick dividends in the team because the Glazers would be over on a fighter jet in no time to get on the pitch and take the dividends. Like, he wouldn't be able to play. I think Ben Jacobs said that it's Fofana or De Jong, depends how much they cost, says Jay. I don't think it is Fofana or De Jong for Chelsea. I think they've got the money to get both, but we'll see. Dread Walker, welcome to the Members Club. What I did want to add about the Cesco story, though, is, and I don't know whether people agree with me, but this is my opinion, it's a desperation signing. He's not option one. I don't think he's even option two. The striker we wanted was Darwin Núñez in May. We've only started going for Cesco at the end of July. I think we're going for Cesco because we're scared of Ronaldo. We're scared of the Ronaldo situation. I mean, Paul Hurst goes on to say this as well. He said Erik ten Hag has concerns about the Man United squad depth. I think we're now moving for Cesco towards the end of the market, and I think there's an air of desperation to it. I don't think in the middle of June, at the end of July, at the end of May, I don't think we had any intention of going for Cesco. I think the reality is Ronaldo and the potential issues with Ronaldo have made us panic, and that's why we're going for Cesco. I don't think he was part of the plan, and that's fine. You know, you have to adapt in a transfer window. Look at Chelsea. They wanted De Ligt. They didn't get him. They wanted Koundé. They didn't get him. So now they're going for Fofana. So, yeah, you can adapt. But I don't think we were looking at a striker. I really don't. Are you going to do a watch party of the second episode of All or Nothing as you didn't do it last night? No, Nathan, I'm not. I found it really boring, actually. I should have said that on Twitch. I did episode 1. I found it really boring. So I probably won't even watch episode 2 in my own time. It's game over for Palace tonight, says Zayn Miassi. Well, we're doing a watch along after this on That's Football. Also, David says 3 months down the drain. Glazers need to answer for the disaster of a transfer window publicly. Dividendino has been our second most expensive signing. That's from David. And put yourself in Frenkie de Jong's position, says Ray. If you was in his position, would you want you are owed before you went to go somewhere else? Yes. Yeah, I would. And just to give you a little bit of insight into that, there is a story coming out of Barcelona tonight from quite a few outlets. I don't know how reliable this is, but there's quite a few stories coming out tonight that the La Liga will not let Barcelona register any of their new players. And what Barcelona have got to do to register new players is sell players and probably pull a fourth lever. So they're going to have to sell Frenkie de Jong. I've always stated that they will sell Frenkie de Jong. The question is, will we get him? How and when does financial fair play come in when clubs spent so much? Mark, says Ikshan. Well, I asked that this morning, and I think that a lot of Chelsea fans, fair play, replied to me and said, we spent nothing last year. We didn't spend much last year. We spent money on Lukaku, but we sold a lot of players as well. And also, financial fair play is over 3 years. So the belief is that Chelsea can spend quite a lot of money this summer. Mark, surely Chelsea won't pay the wages we will. Well, Callum, thanks for reminding me, because you get quite career work mode was very good today, Hamanshu. I really enjoyed it. You get a lot of that. You talk a lot. You forget about things, but I have said that quite a few times. Remember what I tweeted out about 6 weeks ago. The offer on wages for De Jong is huge. I don't know what it is. I mean, I can't. All I got told was they're huge. They're way over 300 grand a week. So I think Chelsea's top earner is Sterling and Koulibaly on 300 grand a week. If they want De Jong, they're going to have to pay about 370 because that's what we're going to pay. So Frankie's liked Ronaldo's Instagram picture, says Major. Yeah, but you might like a Ronaldo picture anyway. I don't think that I can't go down that road. I cannot go down that road where he's liked an Instagram picture. We've seen that before and we haven't got the player. But I think wages could be important. Yeah, I do agree with you on that. I think wages could be important. We will pay stupid money for this. We will be saying to Frenkie de Jong, we'll blow Chelsea out the water. So that could help us. I mean, that's not always a good thing. When has it worked well for United for us to pay silly wages? I can't think of one time. Pogba didn't work. You could argue, well, I think Ronaldo works, but some would say not. So, yeah, but we will offer massive wages, yeah. This club holds players here against their will and then wonders why players don't want to come. Pogba first, Henderson, now Ronaldo, says Mac. And Rager, thank you very much for becoming a member of the channel. Thank you very much. So, De Jong, headline, if you're tuning in a little bit late, coming in from Paul Hurst in the Times, he's basically saying this. It looks likely that Frenkie de Jong will stay at Barcelona or join Chelsea. I personally am not putting a lot of weight on it. I don't think it's actually over, but some people feel it is. La Liga are not letting Barcelona register their players until they sell players, apparently. So De Jong will be leaving. So based on everything, it looks like he's going to Chelsea. I just don't see it at the moment. I still don't see it. On Cesco, United are interested, but Romano has come out and said there'll be no decision in the next week and that there is more than Man United in the race. We're also hearing from Sky that Manchester United are a long way off what Salzburg want. Look, get confident on Cesco if you want. I'm not, for 3 reasons. 1, I don't think we're in for him. I don't think we were in for him at all until a couple of weeks ago. I think it's a bit of a desperation signing. Secondly, when do Man United ever win a race when there's 2 or 3 other clubs in it? Thirdly, we're already moaning about the price. So it doesn't bode well for United signing Cesco, I must be honest. I hope he snubs his administrative board is a joke, says Kaiser. And Ten Hag saying it needs to be the right player feels like when Sir Alex said there is no value in the market, says James. I like that. I want to come back to that, James. If not De Jong, then let's move on. Strengthen the squad, says Manoj. I can't believe they're not able to find alternatives. I mean, a little bit further on from what James said there. So, look, we've heard Erik Ten Hag plenty of times say that it's about the right player, not any player. I believe James might be right. I believe that might just be there's no value in the market that we used to get from Sir Alex when our midfield was bare and he'd say there's no value in the market. So again, I agree that there might be something in that. But I suppose the honest thing is, do you agree with Ten Hag that if we don't get Frenkie de Jong, we don't get anybody because it's about the right player and not any player? I think if you're Liverpool or you're Man City, there is a reason to be like that. But I think it's a bit fantasy over reality because James Ward-Prowse and Romu are better than Fred and McTominay. So I don't think we're in a position. I don't actually believe, and it's only my opinion. You might disagree. I don't actually believe Ten Hag when he says it's about the right player, not any player. Because if you don't get De Jong, I think Sangari's better than McTominay. Lema's better than McTominay. Neves is better than McTominay. Tielemans is better than McTominay. That's 4 straight away. I mean, you can get to quite a big list if you play that game, but that's 4 straight away. Do you genuinely think that Erik Ten Hag goes, I haven't got De Jong, I don't really want anyone else? I mean, the list of players he would want after De Jong must be huge. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I wonder if it's because if we don't get De Jong, there isn't time to go and get somebody else. Because I will say this, I think it's highly unlikely United are going to sign somebody before the transfer window closes that we haven't heard of. Because United are incapable of going for a new player and getting it done in 4 weeks. And the transfer window is over in 4 weeks. So I think that we either get De Jong, Anthony, Cesco. I don't see any, Dumfries maybe, but I don't see us signing anybody else because we've not been linked to anybody else, which means we haven't been in discussions with anybody else. So all these people who say, if we don't get De Jong, let's go and get Ruben Neves. If we've not been negotiating for Ruben Neves, how do you think this board is going to do a deal in 3.5 weeks? I just can't see it. And remember, the De Jong deal's not over yet, so it'll be less than 3.5 weeks to go and get an alternative if it goes wrong. How I miss a player like Jason Park would be perfect for this team, says Igshan. Hi Mark, my Scottish pal watches the show. Can you give him a good old Scooby-Doo and Iron Brew, says Jack Fraser. And managers need players they trust. I understand Eric Ten Hag's tunnel vision on Frenkie de Jong. Even Tuchel is considering Aubameyang, a player he worked with before, says Mohammed. I think it's very important for Eric Ten Hag to bring players in he trusts, because you can't trust that squad from last year, so he needs players that he can trust. He can't take many risks. I'm worried the high-up United person who told Harry Redknapp that de Jong won't join is Sir Alex, who recently joined Arnold's football think tank. Could be Majek. And we don't get Frenkie and go in for someone else, we will have our pants pulled down as we stink of desperation. This transfer window is beyond saving, says Jobby. Anyway, so that's the latest on Cesco. That's the latest on Frenkie de Jong. There are a few other bits to bring you. Interesting, actually. I will bring you this. Harry Maguire on Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a magnificent player and a magnificent character to have around. I think that's one of the first times I've seen Harry Maguire speak positively about Cristiano Ronaldo. Obviously, they had their problems last year, but it feels like there's a bit of a PR offensive around United at the moment. And I like it. I think that a lot of people thought it might go the other way. A lot of people thought that United might try and force Ronaldo out. Ten Hag saying about leaving is unacceptable. Players staying quiet. What have we had today? We've had Ten Hag coming out saying it's not fair that Ronaldo's in the spotlight for something that loads of other people did. We've had Harry Maguire coming out as the captain of the club saying Cristiano's a magnificent player and a magnificent character. So United are on a charm offensive with Cristiano Ronaldo. And you might not like that. And I'm not going to comment on it personally. You know what I think. But it's very clear to me that when the manager and the captain on the same day are saying great things about Cristiano Ronaldo, they're on a charm offensive. Why are they on a charm offensive? Because they want him to stay. Barca using Chelsea to make United pay the wages owed, says Brad. Could be. You'd need to know that, though. We would have done 60 plus 10 for Anthony. All parties would have been happy, says Leno. I would have done it, yeah. Hi, Mark. I don't think United would have done 60 plus 10 for Anthony, though. I read news about Fabian Ruiz from Napoli for less than 40 million, says Jagdeep. How true is this news? I've not heard it at all, so I'm not saying it's not true, but I've not heard anything about it. What I have heard from Italy is that United and Chelsea want Dumfries. It feels like Chelsea want every player we want, which is fine. I think some people say, oh, Chelsea just want the players we want. I think there's a positive to that. I actually think there's a positive to that. I think the fact that Chelsea want De Jong and we do shows we're trying to do something right. I think the fact that we want Dumfries and Chelsea want Dumfries shows that we're trying to do something right. And I think the fact that Chelsea have been linked to Cesco and we want Cesco, I don't mind United being linked to players that Chelsea want, because to be fair, Chelsea have won the Champions League. They've won the league. They're a good side with a good manager. So there's no problem with Chelsea wanting the players we want. The problem is, can we get them, or did Chelsea get them all? Because if you think about it, no one else was in for Bruno and Sancho. I think they're good signings, but no one else was really in for Maguire or Wan-Bissaka. So I quite like the fact that we're in for players that other clubs want. I just don't trust us to be able to win the race. Bergstrom, thank you very much for joining the members club. I mean, Dumfries is interesting. Sky were talking about Wan-Bissaka today, and they were saying that United are very relaxed about Wan-Bissaka. If he gets a move, that's okay. But if he stays, he stays. And this talk of Crystal Palace and a loan deal. I was told about 5 weeks ago that Wan-Bissaka was going to leave and that United were confident they had a buyer. So I don't know what's happened in the last 5 weeks, but you've got to start thinking that maybe something has happened, because it is a long time since that story. So, I mean, it's 3 years today that we paid £80 million for Harry Maguire. I'll put the picture out on Twitter today. It's 3 years today since we bought Harry Maguire for 80 million, which means it's 3 years since we bought Aaron Wan-Bissaka for 50 million. How embarrassing is it that we're going to potentially loan Aaron Wan-Bissaka when we paid £50 million for him? I mean, I know we've got a different CEO now, but we've still got the same owners. And Woodward retired. He didn't get sacked. It's amazing. It's amazing how many of these bad signings just keep coming and bite us on the arse. The same thing's happening with Tellez, isn't it? 15 million 2 years ago, and now going out the door on loan. They're talking about loaning Eric Bailly. I can't believe Eric Bailly would get loaned. Like, many fans think Eric Bailly should be starting for United. How is he loanable? I don't know. Snide remarks podcast. Thank you. He says, I think looking at the Timber situation, once we knew he was truly out, we moved on quickly. Staying on De Jong deal this long makes me feel it's closer than we think. Also, we overpaid for Martinez, who shares the same agent as De Jong. I don't think Martinez shares the same agent as De Jong. I might be wrong. Malacia does. What's strange is that the board are playing victim here. If United, what would help fans is hearing something reassurances. If he subs Cesco for Cesco, says SK. One way to do, I do disagree with Ten Hag. It's the right player we need, not any player. We have a few wrong players with huge salaries, says Richard. Yeah, I think there's no, you can't argue with Ten Hag saying I want the right player, not any player. But what I would argue with is if you don't get De Jong, there's so many players that are better than McTominay. So we should be buying. We should buy somebody if we don't get De Jong. We can't just go, oh, we didn't get De Jong, we'll be fine. Matty FC on TikTok announced De Jong to Chelsea 3 days ago. Didn't think to be true. Anyway, you should join the board and fix this mess at the club. I can tell you for now that your TikTok friend ain't right, Miguel. Like, Chelsea have not agreed a deal with De Jong. So, whether he goes to Chelsea or not, he's not agreed a deal. What a magnificent lineup tonight. Run for third makes United look like a pub team. Zane, you're setting yourself up for a massive fall. I think Palace are a good side. If you beat Palace tonight, I'll buy into your pre-season positivity. But the season starts this weekend, and I think Palace is a tough game for Arsenal. I'm looking forward to watching it after this. On a watch-along, so make sure you tune in. Just looking at what someone said there. There was something else that I wanted to talk about. Look, Samuel Lucas said it this morning. United board are baffled that they're getting the blame for the De Jong deal. But the same thing was said in June. I'm sure the United board were baffled by the pressure they were under from the fans in the transfer window in the start of June. I was trying to find the story earlier today and I couldn't find it, but I'm pretty sure there was a story at the start of June that the United board were surprised that they were getting so much stick when the transfer window wasn't even open for not signing players. But we're in August now and you've not really signed any players either. So I don't take much notice of the board being shocked or baffled because I think the board are baffling themselves. Like, they are 10 years of incompetence. They can't argue with that. That's not a made-up statement. It's been 10 years of incompetence. And I don't think I would still rank this transfer window as 2 or 3 out of 10. I don't think it's a very good transfer window at all. We've sold next to nobody. We've bought next to nobody. I mean, I know we've got Ericsson, but he's a free agent. It's a free deal. We bought Malacia for next to nothing. Martinez is our only significant signing. Does Frankie want Bayern? Also, what's Chelsea's projected spending? Mad seeing a club with that much attention and ambition. How the mighty have fallen, says Jack. Well, I saw that from Build that Frenkie de Jong wants to go to Bayern Munich, but what does that mean? Can Bayern Munich afford him? No, they can't afford the wages. They can't. I don't think they would want to pay 70 million either. That's a nothing story. That's like saying Frenkie de Jong wants to go to Man City, or he wants to go to Liverpool, or he wants to go to Real Madrid. Like, of course he bloody well does. They're very big clubs. I don't think they will be in for him, so he can want going to Bayern all he likes. Welcome to the members club. I am Kito. I mean, there is a good point about Frenkie de Jong that no one wants to discuss because there's no point in talking about it. But the good point is this. What if Frenkie de Jong comes in, we don't perform well, and he demands a move in a year? I can't check your message, Jake, on Instagram because I'm crap at it. I can't find people's messages on Instagram. There's no point in messaging me on Instagram because I go on Instagram messages and it just fucking crashes. I haven't got a clue about Instagram messages. So I could have been Instagram messaged by bloody Brad Pitt and I wouldn't know because I just don't know how to work it. So you're wasting your time messaging me on Instagram. Unfortunately, I'm incompetent when it comes to... I'm like United's board. There's no point messaging me on Instagram. Every evening, Mark, missed half the show. I thought it's 9 p.m, says Mikael Roach. But, yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to say this because there's no point, but I will still say it anyway. When you think about Frenkie de Jong, even if we do get him and we spend 70 million on him and we give him 350 grand a week, what if we have a bad season? He could be Di Maria next summer. He could be demanding a move. He could be like Ronaldo saying, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to play in the Europa League for 2 years. No one thinks of that. Nobody thinks of that, do they? They think, let's get Frenkie de Jong and everything will be fine. What if we sign Frenkie de Jong and every opposition realises that he's the player that you need to man mark and he has a bad season? What if we sign Frenkie de Jong and we don't finish in the top 4 and win the Europa League and he wants to go after a year? Like, all these things could happen. You know, there's no... Frenkie de Jong ain't bloody a guarantee either. Like, I said this back in May. It worries me that we're buying a marquee signing. I don't think we needed a marquee signing. I want Ten Hag to get Frenkie de Jong. I absolutely do. And I want to see how it works. I'm not the manager. You're not the manager. But I'll be honest, in the middle of April, I would never have expected United were going to spend 70 million on one player. I didn't expect that. I thought this summer would be about knowing our place, sixth, and trying to build a squad. I thought we would have gone for the Lamers or the Sangaris. You know, I thought we would have bought a couple of midfielders for 30 million and got quantity as well as quality and been a bit patient. I mean, Frenkie de Jong is sort of a now signing, isn't he? I know he's only 25, but he won't play in the Europa League for 3 years. I thought we might be in the Europa League for a couple of years, so I thought we might buy players that would put up with that. Frenkie does strike me as a little bit of a now or never. Get him in. If we don't get Champions League, he might want to go. So there's a lot of risk. There's always risk. Amazing how months ago we were excited about a possible reshuffle in the structure of the management, no director of football and a bad transfer window, says Jack. Barcelona can't register players. Let's just sign those players. Apologies for a silly super chat, says Mo. No matter what happens, we must back Ten Hag when the season falls apart and the media attacks him. The board and the players are the root cause and that needs to be consistently called out, says Brandon. I don't think people will turn against Ten Hag. I might be wrong, but I don't think they will. It feels like... I don't think the fans will, I should say. Feels like United board doesn't want to back Ten Hag because they wanted Poch. I don't agree with that, Nicholas. I don't. I think the board do want to back Ten Hag. I just don't think they're good enough. I mean, let's not forget, at the end of June, they got that Michael Keane's brother in as a bloody... What do they call it? Temporary fix. It's not solved anything. I think we will buy or loan or get Ziyech because it's dead silence on Anthony. Yeah, I mean, I'd take Ziyech now. I would. I want Anthony, but I'd take Ziyech. I've got a big cough coming. Get ready. I don't. As I said yesterday on the morning show, what I would say about Ziyech is this. I don't want him. I want Anthony. But it's a bit like when you go away to Everton and you don't play well and you get a draw and you really think you should be winning those games, and we should be winning those games, but after a couple of days you go, actually, that's probably not a bad draw. And I feel like that about Ziyech. I want Anthony. I want the win. But Ziyech is the draw. Nobody is the loss. I'll take a point at this stage because I don't want the loss. Now I've got the hiccups. Great. We all threw this, Mark. What the fans wanted was players in, and let's think how many there were. Shocking, says SK. I'm trying to swallow the hiccup. That's a good tip. You know, if you ever get hiccups, I'm brilliant at getting rid of them. Don't do any of this blinking crap. When you get the hiccups, give it a few seconds. You normally hiccup every 20 seconds, or 10 seconds. When you get to second 7, take a deep breath and swallow slowly. And you should swallow around the same times that you're hiccuping, and it will go. We cannot go another season with McFred in mid... I always say that to people, just swallow. We cannot go another season with McFred in midfield, and they should have appointed Ricky instead. If Ten Hag as manager, Ricky would have won the league, says Leon. It was good to have Ricky back yesterday, it was. Nelly says, will the pressure really apply on Arnold and perhaps Eric Ten Hag if United loses the midfield and all 3 points in the Brighton game? No, look, I hope there's no United fans out there. I heard this with Solskjaer. I definitely heard it with Mourinho. And I don't believe in wanting the team to win because it might make changes off the pitch. Lose. I've not heard any United fans say it, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody did. I hope we get beaten on Sunday so we go and buy some players. I don't think that changes United's mentality. Why would losing on Sunday make them buy players? They know we're putting out the same team as last season on Sunday. They know that midfield's weaker and they know that attack is weaker, and they're still starting the season with it. So I don't want to lose to Brighton. I want to win every bloody game. I want to get in the Champions League. You know, that's what I want from this season. So we can't afford to We can't afford to drop more points, I'm afraid. We've not even started any yet. I was ready, but it was a little... Okay, I don't know what that's on. A couple of other things I wanted to talk about anyway. Eminem. This is a really important story. Just before we get... I'm going to have to go over to That's Football in a minute, but I wanted to talk about this. Spanish reports that Man United have been working on their starting 11 since Tuesday, and the starting centre-back pairing will be Eminem, Maguire and Martinez. So that's better than... oh, bloody hell. Matt Lucas has lost a lot of weight off the bake-off. He has. Lost a lot of weight. Mark, we can't even sell our fringe players. What chance have we got of buying anyone, says George. So it looks like it'll be Martinez and Maguire as our midfield too, as our centre-back pairings. So that's a positive. We knew Maguire was going to start because he's the captain. I'd rather have Martinez playing than Lindelof. I can't lie. I still find it very difficult that there's not a clamour and more noise from the media that Rafael Varane, who's on 300 grand a week and is a World Cup winner and 4-time Champions League winner and is still only 29, is not starting for Man United. I find it amazing. If I was Harry Maguire, I'd be walking around my garden with a massive smile on my face. He's benching Varane. That's amazing. But on the other hand, I also understand... Well, what I don't understand, actually, I don't understand what we're going to do with Rafael Varane. Because everybody I speak to about Varane, they say it's not because Maguire's better than Varane, it's because Varane's injury prone. But he's on a massive contract. What's the plan with Varane then? We're just going to pay him 300 grand a week to sit on the bench. Like, there has to be a strategy to Varane. I mean, or are we just stuck with another player that we can't get rid of on 300 grand a week? I mean, I desperately hope Varane isn't injury prone and can't play games, because we've been absolutely bent over by Real Madrid if we have. So I don't know why it's not more of a discussion about Varane, because if he's now I just can't believe he's the third choice centre back. He's better than Martinez and he's better than Maguire, but if he's injury prone, then you can understand why he's not being picked. But if he's injury prone, what's the plan? He's only 1 year into a contract where he's earning 300 grand a week. So I don't know what we're going to do with Varane. I think we're just going to have to wait and see. But there's going to be a few players like that, to be fair. What are we going to do with Donny? That's about it, really, because, yeah, we've not got a lot of depth anyway. We're well stacked at centre-back. We are well stacked at centre-back. If the club would just put half the effort, what would you put into this channel? We would put a great team again. Thank you for your hard work, says Xander. I'd love a go at running United. I really would. I'd work hard, but... and hopefully competently, because I just don't understand what we're doing half the time. It seems clear with the outgoings, removal of massive wages and limited investment, the club is being positioned to be sold, says Corey. Hopefully. Mark, what if Eric Ten Hag is like Bielsa? Ram, I just can't wait for the season to start. I really cannot wait for the season to start. I think it's going to be really exciting, and I think that seeing how United do... I mean, for me, I think we'll beat Brighton and Brentford, but I can't wait to see what we do against Liverpool. So, really interested. Right, I'm going to stop the show, but I'm literally going to be live in a minute. I'm going to be live on That's Football, so I will see you over there in a minute's time. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, as ever. And what will happen is, this video will... what will this video do? This video should end and push you over into the live chat for That's Football. So I'll see you over there in about a minute or two. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe, and I'll see you over there.